I know. Trying something new, guys. You know, shirt collar up. It's probably gonna be the only time I'm gonna do this anyway. So I'm just trying new things. So anyway, guys, hey, welcome to my first video of the year 2015, guys. My January 2015 movie collections update video. So as always, thank you for joining me. Like the video, leave me comments, guys. Tell me what you think of everything that I'm about to show you. As always, I have a nice little selection of videos that I've watched during the last month or so. So let's get started. So the first thing that I have to show you basically is the sequel to one of my favorite animated films of about 2 years ago, I believe now. And it is How to Train Your Dragon 2. Now, basically the premise of this film is that it takes place about 5 years after the original. So our main cast of characters are a little bit older, and it definitely shows. I like the character designs this time in terms of how they aged them just a bit to make them look a little bit more mature. And the basic storyline about this one is that our dragon Toothless, of course, and Hiccup, still of course going around adventuring, but it comes to a point now where Hiccup's father now is trying to prepare him to possibly now lead, the entire tribe of Vikings that live on the island. And Hiccup really doesn't feel like he's not very enthusiastic about taking that new role. He actually wants to continue to go out exploring with Toothless. And as a matter of fact, part of the story, is him discovering new areas, new territories. And on one of these expeditions, he happens to come across a bunch of dragon capturers. And he's basically informed that there's another person that's out there trying to capture all the dragons to kind of lead an army, to try to take over, a lot of the territories in the setting of this film. So part of the story synopsis in there is Hiccup and his crew trying to protect their dragons, and along the way he meets his mother, who happens to be I guess the dragon whisperer, I guess, of sorts for the film. And a lot of things happen in there in terms of, because it's kind of a bit of a reunion between Hiccup now being separated from his mom for like over almost 20 years since the first film. So it's pretty interesting to see this dynamic of seeing how the two characters reunite and come back together this way, and finding out that they have a lot in common actually in terms of their whole outlook on life, and the choices that they've made and who they've become up to this point when they finally reunite with each other. And pretty much that's the whole synopsis for the story, guys. Is just Hiccup and his crew pretty much trying to protect their dragons from these wanderers from the north. I believe they're trying to again capture dragons, and they happen to be in the way. So hopefully I managed to kind of like describe the synopsis of this film, as best I could. So hopefully that made sense. For those of you that's seen it, of course, you know what I'm talking about. But honestly, I thought it was a really great movie. It was really fun, a lot of detail. Nicely done. Nicely, the settings were absolutely amazing. Character designs were truly, really good. Overall, nice film. I still like the first one though a little bit better than the sequel anyway. But still, that shouldn't be any reason for you not to check out the sequel, guys. So definitely check out How to Train Your Dragon 2. The next film that I have to show you is this film with Aubrey Plaza and Dane DeHaan called Life After Beth. And the synopsis of this film basically is that Dane's character and Aubrey Plaza's character, they're a couple. And Aubrey Plaza's character kind of unexpectedly dies because I believe she ends up getting bitten by a snake when she goes wandering out in the woods, and she dies. And everyone's kind of heartbroken, especially the boyfriend character. And what ends up happening is that she comes back to life like a couple of days later, and the parents don't want to let the boyfriend know that she's back because there's something weird going on with the reason why she comes back. But he keeps insisting that she's alive, that she's there, and eventually he finally sees her, and the parents tell her basically what really happened in terms of her rising back from the grave and coming back, but still kind of being a zombie, and there's a whole bunch of hilarity that ensues in terms of the two characters just trying to get along with each other. Now that things are said in this movie, I don't want to give away any details because some of the things that are said that that kind of happen in the film lead to the hilarities of some of the situations that the two characters experience as they're trying to adjust to the fact that especially the boyfriend trying to adjust that his girlfriend is back, and for Aubrey Plaza's character trying to figure out, okay, what's going on? Why is everyone acting so weird? Why does everyone keep telling me that I have a test the next day and things like that? So it's a lot of stuff in here that's pretty good. Again, Aubrey Plaza, Dane DeHaan, John C. Reilly, and of course Molly Shannon pretty much make up at least the central actors for this film. And I mean, it was a lot of fun, guys. I thought it was really good. It's one of these independent films that, but it was really nice. It was a nice, unique take on a love story involving zombies. So definitely, I say check it out. If you know basically movies that Aubrey Plaza is in, you pretty much know exactly what you're in for. So, but other than that, it was really good. I found it to be a lot of fun, really hilarious. I also finally got to watch Angelina Jolie in Maleficent, and oh my goodness, this movie is actually really amazing, guys. This is really great. It's a different take on the Sleeping Beauty story from Disney, and basically we've actually told the story of Sleeping Beauty from the perspective of Maleficent herself. So we basically see a little bit of a history of how Maleficent came to be who we kind of recognize when we actually watch the animated Sleeping Beauty film. And I think the thing that's interesting here is that you see that Maleficent really isn't all bad. It's just that situations that she dealt with kind of turned her to be kind of crude and heartless. But when she abducts baby Aurora and begins to kind of like raise her, not directly but in an indirect fashion, she kind of raises her. She begins to become very fond of baby Aurora, and kind of as she watches her grow up, so she kind of almost becomes kind of like a surrogate mother to her. And again, guys, Angelina Jolie's performance was really amazing. It was fantastic. This movie was really great. I didn't know what to expect from something like this, but I was really pleasantly surprised. So definitely, I say check it out if you haven't done so already. Check out Maleficent, guys. It was really good. The next film that I have to show you is from Chris Evans, called Snowpiercer. It's kind of like, well, it's not kind of, but it is a sci-fi post-apocalyptic movie that kind of takes place with, I believe, it's an ice age that kind of hits the entire planet. Everyone is dead except for, remaining survivors on this one train that just, the purpose of it is it just continues to move around the entire planet. Like that's its main purpose, to just keep moving. And I think it's because of its design that it allows it to kind of it's kind of like a self-sustaining train because of its unique engine. So basically, all it does is just runs around the planet constantly, 365 days a year. So basically, the other interesting point of this film is that there's a class system that kind of sets the entire premise of the entire film. And so there's a lower class, and of course there's an upper rich class. So basically, Chris Evans, kind of is part of the lower class, and they're pretty much being mistreated, and they're trying to figure out ways of trying to, go further up in the train to reach the first class cabins. So it's a really, really unique take on this whole classification system, or the division in class, I should say, in terms between the poor and the rich, and how it all seems to, kind of take place on this one train. Kind of like, again, it's kind of like a social commentary on society right now, where how come, when you notice, how there is some inequalities in terms between the rich and the poor, on larger scales. We're talking about cities and countries and things like that. And here, all of that's condensed onto this one setting, which is a train. So it's really interesting to see just all the dynamics involved, like who the players are and who the characters actually represent in that type of society that takes place on this train. But it was really amazing, guys. I mean, I would say that this is actually being done by the it's directed by the person that actually did what's it called, Old Boy. And I think even the main actor that was in Old Boy is actually in this movie too. I believe it's this guy right here. I think it's the same actor. I'm not really 100% sure, but I think it's the same actor. But other than that, guys, it's really an amazing film. Very thought-provoking in terms of just seeing these dynamics in such a small setting, but still it delivers very powerfully in terms of trying to deliver that message of, we will not be held back, or the lower class will not be held back, to the crude treatment of the upper class. So definitely, guys, if you have a chance, check out Snowpiercer. It's probably one of the better sci-fi films that came out in 2014. So definitely check it out. The next film that I have to show you is Melissa McCarthy in Tammy. And this is basically about, Melissa McCarthy plays the title character, of course, Tammy, who kind of is, at the beginning of the film, experiences, a very, kind of like a depressing moment in terms of finding out that her husband, I believe, was cheating on her with the neighbor, and she goes off trying to figure out what to do with herself, with life and things like that, and she's not really getting much support from her mom, but instead she finds out that she is actually going to get kind of support from her grandmother, played by Susan Sarandon. And the two decide to go kind of like in a road trip of sorts to try to discover basically what they want to do and what they want to become. And in the process is basically of the two traveling around, is you see this kind of relationship between granddaughter and grandmother in terms of why there's such a huge difference in terms of opinions and perspectives, and why they kind of see each other the way they do at the beginning of the film. So you begin to understand why that is, and why there's they're kind of estranged from each other. And the whole point of the movie, I mean, it is a comedy, of course, with Melissa McCarthy, but on the underlining theme, which I kind of didn't expect, but I was again pleasantly surprised, was the fact that it's about family trying to understand why they are the way they are. Why Melissa McCarthy's character is kind of this kind of rambunctious type of person who kind of a bit of a free spirit, I guess you could say. But the grandmother in her own way as well, is kind of similar, but I guess on the opposite spectrum. So it's interesting, like I said before, just trying to see how the two play with each other that way and try to figure each other out. And of course, they're just going from place to place, interacting with other people, and things happen. So there's a bunch of funny moments, but I think deep down, the core of the film is just seeing how these two characters, try to get along and try to understand each other, giving each other their space in their room to be able to kind of like really become who they really want to turn into by the end of the film. So it was really a lot of fun, guys. I thought it was really good. A lot of the films with Melissa McCarthy as of late have been pretty interesting, pretty decent, funny as well. So I say definitely give this one a chance, guys. It's definitely worth it. And the last thing that I have to show you basically is season 1 of Total Drama Island. I remember watching this on Cartoon Network when it first aired, and pretty much thinking, damn, this is actually a really nice spoof on the whole reality TV or the whole reality contests that were always airing on MTV specifically, and a couple of other network channels as well. So this is a very interesting spoof on all that, and it's really hilarious. All the contests that all the campers have to go through. The host is hilarious. All the characters have their little quirks, and of course, my favorite character, of course, has to be the character of Heather, because she is a friggin', oh my goodness, a vindictive type of oh boy, but she's hilarious. I think her character is probably one of the things that kept this entire series going. At least for me. For other people, it's probably a lot of different things that kept it interesting for them. But for me, it was always Heather's character, because again, you can trust her 1 minute, but then she'll backstab you the next. So it's really hilarious. But I mean, it goes to it plays on that whole dynamic of how these contestants on these type of shows kind of work anyway. So, but it was really great seeing an animated version of spoofing on all those shows anyway. So it was really fun. Well, guys, that's pretty much it. That's all that I have for you on this new video, first video of the new year. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, guys, like it, leave me comments, tell me what you think about these films and TV series that I showed you. Give me other recommendations of things that I should be watching or should be looking forward to watching, in the near future, right, guys? So as always, guys, it's a new year. Stay safe and keep watching films, all right, guys?